All right. Well, good evening, everyone. This is your CPO 7 meeting. Kicking off tonight here. We've got a special topic on the agenda about how to engage with the planning process. So thank you very much for all of our attendees and for all of your time tonight. Why don't we first roll into some announcements from our service providers. Do we happen to have the Sheriff's Department on?
Hi, good evening. It's Cody Harris. I am adoring your co-pilot there. Love it.
And, eating my headset as we speak.
So I'm your communications and outreach specialist of the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and I have Deputy Rambin is here with us as well. I can go ahead and bring up the calls for service map, and just keep in mind that these are calls for service, and pass it over to you, Deputy Rambin, and then I'll give a couple more event updates afterwards.
Right. Cody, can you move it up a little bit?
Yes. And we can't see you, just so you know.
I don't. My video says it's on, and my camera has a blue light, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Uh-oh. No worries.
All right. So, again, I can't really speak to what's south of Highway 26. Some of that's going to be Hillsborough, and some of that's going to be Beaverton. Judging by where some of them are grouped, looks to be around the shopping centers, which isn't that surprising. Shoplifting, that type of thing. If you can scroll up, there we go. A lot of the theft, I mean, it could be package thieves, it could be people breaking into cars. It could be mail theft. It could be any number of things. It could even be a scam where somebody sent money to somebody else. It can be any one of those things. You know, the best way to counteract or fight against some of that theft is, if you have a package delivered, make sure you get it pulled in as soon as you can, or have a neighbor do that for you as well. If your car is being broken into, the best way to work against that is making sure that your car is actually locked. I can count on one hand the number of times I've gone to a car break-in where they actually busted out a window. It's usually they just go along trying door handles, and if the door handle's open, opens the door, they go inside the car and they take whatever it is. It could be something silly as the 50 cents and change you have in the center console, to whatever you have in your car, to include your registration and insurance. My camera's working now. I don't know what's going on. Other than that, I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions or concerns or things they're seeing in the community they'd like to share with us? You can always email me too.
All right, perfect.
All right, well then, just to wrap it up and let you all know too, I'm going to put a link in the follow the WCSO news. The canine trials are back after a 2-year COVID hiatus. It is a free event, but canines come from across the state and compete, and they're going to be at the Hillsborough Stadium this year. So that's on the 21st. Again, it's free. We just had a virtual power curve, our women's safety, our self-defense class, and that should also be returning, hopefully, fingers crossed, in June to an in-person. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to be out and about. We've been hitting up a lot of the farmers markets, trying to just be out and see everybody. We have a coffee with a cop coming up, hopefully one in Bethany area soon, in Cedar Mill possibly as well, but for sure this weekend, the Reedville Starbucks will be there Saturday 9 to 11. And then my safety message is a reminder. I know it's still raining lots, but windows are going to start being opened a lot more, probably listening to that rain too, for that nice warmer spring rain, but just remembering to stop at 4 inches for upper windows every year there does happen to be issues with fatalities or falls or major injuries with window falls with children. So please remember, that's our main safety message this time of year, is just remembering that stop at 4. There's lots of different latch opportunities. And sometimes if you inquire with us, I don't know if we have any this year, but last year I know we were able to partner with the fire department to get free latches for some folks. So keep an eye out for that. If that's something that's a need, feel free to reach out to me and I'll try to find a resource. But again, any questions or concerns, let me know, but I'll put a couple links in the chat. And that's the message we have for you today.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Let's see. DHPRD. Do you have any announcements you would like to share?
Hi there, it's Liana at THPRD. First, just want to let you know I'm not feeling particularly well tonight. So if I'm low energy, it's not a reflection of my enthusiasm for being here tonight. But I do have some updates I want to share with you. Just a reminder that we're hiring. We've got lots of opportunities available right now for hiring. And if you're interested in positions or you know someone, please visit our website. We're especially looking for aquatics instructors, lifeguards, summer staff, some great opportunities for youth and young adults. So yeah, spread the word. We'd love to see more folks apply. We also have summer registration open. So in-district registration for summer began Saturday, April 2nd. Activity guides are online or available in print facilities if you're interested. We also have a quick rain reminder. We had some cancellations due to heavy rains. Remember, when field conditions are super wet, we don't want to hurt the fields or people, so we need to let them rest. We've also had some mowing delays due to the record-setting April rain and precipitation, so please be patient with us as we get those mowed when the weather lets up a little bit. We also have outdoor splash pads returning. We're preparing for warmer weather and expect to have outdoor splash pads open and up and running for Memorial Day weekend. And then just a couple other updates. We do have free fitness in the park starting again. So lots of free fitness in the park options for both spring and summer. So check on our website for those details. Last couple things I want to mention. One big project we have going on right now is at the city of Beaverton. They're working on a downtown Beaverton Parks and open space plan for parks and open spaces, and we're partnering with them to make that happen. So we're soliciting input from people on what they would want to see in downtown parks and open spaces and natural areas and recreational activities. So with all that energy the city has spent in revitalizing downtown over the past 10 years, we're really proud to work with the city and be a part of that project to imagine what the community wants for downtown. So look for that project. If you're out at different events in the city, you might see us tabling for that project. We'd love to hear your feedback. And then finally, I just wanted to acknowledge that we did have a question from Tina Ricks during the last meeting. And what I did was I just was trying to gather as much information to understand that issue as much as possible in the meantime. And I think I've got some really good stuff, good information together that I'm going to go ahead and email over to Tina and Mary. I believe we're the two folks we talked about catching up on those points. And I wanted to check in with Washington County to better understand what was going on there. So just a lot of back and forth and trying to understand the issues there and what's going on. So I will follow up with you all on that. Just know that I haven't forgotten about you. And that's everything I have. Thank you so much for being patient with me this evening. And if there are any questions, I'll stick around for just a minute, but then I'm probably going to cut out pretty soon. Mary.
So to explain what the question was asked last month, it was about the crossing of Highway 26 with the Waterhouse Trail, and Tina was hoping for more improvements there. And I will go ahead, when I get the information from Leanna, I'll post that on our Facebook page, our CPO7 Facebook page.
Thank you, Mary.
Very nice. Well, get some rest. We appreciate you being here, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
let's see. Rolling right along here. Water District. Hello, are there any announcements you'd like to share?
Yeah, I have a couple of announcements here this evening. The first one is we did a Talking Water, which is our virtual customer outreach series this afternoon at noon. And that is on how to get your automatic irrigation system at your residence adjusted, make minor repairs, and get the schedule set so that you are not surprised by your water bill by overwatering or watering areas that you don't intend to do. I will put a link in the chat where the video for that will be available if you missed it and you'd like to get that information. We have it all in a single link that you can find the links to that information. It's a bunch of how-to videos, kind of like our own version of YouTube. And then the second announcement is about our water rates. I think many of you are aware that we are constructing an additional water supply with our partners, the city of Hillsborough and the city of Beaverton. There's been some pretty significant inflationary conditions at work. I know you've probably noticed it at the pump and you've noticed it at the grocery store, but we are also experiencing that in construction project as well as our capital improvements that we are scheduled to do to make the additional water supply available in 2026. Those are projects that have kind of been ramping up for basically 40 years, and the construction's been going on for almost a decade now. And so it's not something we can defer or delay and just put into the future. We have to proceed with this because we will need to go off of the Portland Water Bureau supply in 2026. So the Board of Commissioners who sets our budget and sets our rates decided to reopen the rate setting process for this November. The financial plan that guides how much our water rates need to be, because we are a cost recovery system, is being updated with the additional cost information from the bids that have come in. And so the board will be making a decision on May 18th what the increase would be. The previously approved increase was 9.5%. So we are anticipating it would be higher than 9.5%. So we just want to start our outreach early. We'll be out a lot through the summer, hosting events in our facilities and out in community events to help our customers receive this information. And last week we celebrated Drinking Water Week. Drinking Water Week is just a celebration of, the convenience and health benefits that treated drinking water that's readily available in our region and to our customers. And in addition to recreation and business and residential use, that is also the water that is used for fire protection. And I will put the link there in the chat as well as my contact information, but that's my announcements for this evening.
Thank you. That's perfect. Let's see. I don't know if we have anyone from TV Fire on, but if we do, please speak up. Okay. All right. And if there's anyone running for office or anyone who would like to make any announcements, please raise your hand.
Andrew, I see Captain Baker is in the
there we go.
attendees.
Try to invite here. Let's see. Here, I'll just do allow to talk. There we go.
Hi there, this is Captain Baker from your Somerset station here off 185th and Highway 26. Am I coming through? I can't.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, all right, perfect. Hi everybody, I'm the new station captain here. Pass along some information to you. So since the last time we met, I don't know if Captain Gennaro from the Bethany station and I alternate which station joins your meetings, since we're both kind of adjoining with everybody's. Our first dues meet a lot of everybody's areas. So in the last month, we've had about 400 calls. I can kind of show you like a little map of that. yeah, it's been a busy month in our fire district. So you can kind of see there where the majority of the incidents run for us. Like the Washington County was saying, spring's hopefully coming to an end and summer will start here at some point. So again, like those upstairs windows, make sure if you have little ones around, don't open them very much. Those are some of the most tragic incidents we see here during the year is children falling from second-story windows. The other big items is as summer is approaching, wildfire season will be starting soon, and they're still slating that it's going to be a pretty dry summer. And so it's better to be ahead of the curve. So if you live out in the country or even kind of near kind of that urban interface, we have a great resource guide at tvfr.com, and you can go to the fire and life safety, and there's some links there. The wildfire ready, set, go, which discusses what you can do to prep your home for the wildfire season and how to make your house safe. So I encourage you, if you're kind of in that area or just curious, go ahead and take a look at that. We also too like to encourage everybody on a monthly basis, make sure you check your smoke detectors. Those are one of the best bang for your bucks on keeping your house safe and keeping your family safe in case of a fire. So change the batteries regularly. And if you've hit kind of that 10-year mark with your smoke detectors, go ahead and replace them. Also, if you have kids, set up like a safety plan. Where are you going to meet if the fire alarms go off in the middle of the night? What's your evacuation plan? So make sure you've communicated that with everybody. And that's pretty much all I have for right now. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, please raise your hand if you have any questions. No questions seen. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. All right. I think we got everyone in. Good stuff. So let's go ahead and roll into our main topic for the evening. Sandy, can you help us engage with planning?
Hi.
Take it away.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Freund, and I'm with the current planning division of the Land Use and Transportation Department and Community Development. And we're the group that processes all the development applications that you see around the county, and in particular, probably your community planning area as well. I'm not sure where to start. It's kind of a loaded topic and it's not easy to cover in one night. I think probably the most beneficial, and Melissa is assisting me. We're tag teaming here. She's going to post some links for you on our web page. And I don't know if, can I share the screen, Andrew?
You should be able to. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to do that. I'm so used to using Teams these days that
Yeah.
Sandy, would you like to start with just taking them through the website? I can do that.
yeah, I have the website up, but I don't know how to share it on the screen.
Okay, why don't I just go ahead and do that?
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks so much.
No problem. I
yeah.
just have to figure out which screen I'm going to share. Okay.
The Loot Land Use and Transportation main screen.
Yep, that's where I'm headed.
Great, thank you. And while you're
All right,
doing
no problem.
explain to everybody.
This is how teams work here.
Yeah. Planning
All
process.
right.
Got it?
I think so.
Let's see.
All right. Does everybody see my screen?
Not yet. Oh, it's trying. There it is.
There it is.
Yay. Thank you, Melissa.
No
Okay.
problem. And I'll put this all in the chat in terms of the links that will
Great.
take you through all of this. So this is the Land Use and Transportation homepage. And so you start, technically, you would start off on the county page, and then you would go to Land Use and Transportation. That's where all your development, community development materials are going to live. And then you go to current planning. And within the current planning website, you would go to land use applications and projects. And here you're going to find comment on a project, projects under review, search for a project, and notices of decision. So Sandy, do you want to talk about projects, comment on a project and what that all means and how we decide on which projects, how the projects get to be part of a comment period?
Yeah, it's well, the web pages takes a little bit of navigating for everybody. So if you can get to this page, there's the email in the second paragraph. If you get stuck for any reason, you can always email us in our department and somebody will get back to you on what you're looking for specifically. Typically the projects, the more, I don't want to say controversial ones, but there's 4 types of projects, and the majority of the projects that you will hear about are type 2 and type 3 land use decisions. Type 3s are the ones that go to public hearing. And so those are, and you would be interested in type 2s as well. Those are your subdivisions and restaurants and projects of that nature. But there's thresholds in the development code that determine what type of project is going to be heard at what level. Basically, in a nutshell, the type 3 projects at, well, the type 2s as well, have often conditions of approval attached to them. And those are conditions that are written to mitigate as much as possible any potential negative impacts that would result from a project. So folks often comment on projects, and the way you would find out about a project is when we get an application submitted and the application is deemed complete by planning staff, there's a statute or Oregon revised statutes that we have 30 days to deem an application complete. And that basically means we have enough information on a project to proceed forward. Once we determine that application is complete, within those 30 days of it being submitted, ORS dictates how much time we have to get to a notice of decision. And that date is 120 days, that time frame rather. So within that 120 days, we as staff are reviewing an application. And at some point during that time, I would say maybe within 6 weeks to 4 weeks of the decision being rendered, a public notice will be sent out. And if you are a property owner within 500 feet radius of a site that's going to have a project on it, you will receive a notice in the mail that this particular project is going to occur at the particular location that's listed. And when you get that notice, you are able to comment, provide comments to the staff that are listed on that email, on that notice. There'll be an email of staff, either myself or Paul Schaefer or Eileen. And you can provide your comments. And so those comments will become part of the record, part of the staff report, and your name and your address and your concerns or comments will be summarized in the staff report. Oftentimes you need to provide comment in order to have standing to appeal a project. So if a decision is rendered and that decision is not supported by findings made in the code, then you will have standing to file an appeal to that decision if you did provide comment and you were in the notice area. What Melissa has on the website is a brochure that we provide, and it's pretty succinct about the different types of process applications, specifically type 2 and type 3s, and what that looks like from start to finish, if you will. And so it kind of spells out what we're looking at when we're reviewing a project. And all projects have to comply with the code requirements, the Community Development Code. They can't just be something willy-nilly, let's say. And we can't, as staff, willy-nilly deny a project or approve a project unless the applicant provides the findings of fact, answering and providing information as to how they're going to build said project, provide utilities, provide the infrastructure necessary to run a project, and have a project operate, development operate accordingly with the codes. And we also, not only planning, but engineering, building department, CWS, THPRD, Parks Department, Washington County Sheriff, Department of Health and Human Services, and Waste and Recycling Management, and school district, we're all reviewers in these projects. So it's not something that's reviewed and decided upon in a vacuum. It's decided upon what the parameters are laid out in the zoning code that we have to follow. And there's different uses. We call them uses, like a restaurant is a commercial use, let's say, or a school is an institutional use, or a subdivision is residential use. The uses are spelled out in the different districts, i.e. zoning districts in the county, and what's permitted, what's not permitted, or what's permitted with a type 2 or type 3 review. I feel like I need to provide some time here for questions, maybe. It's a lot to absorb, and Oregon has a very deep history in planning and a lot of community involvement. So it's really neat how people participate. And I'm sure you all know, but I don't want to assume, there are 13 community planning organizations within the county, and you are one of 13. And when we deem an application complete, your CPO chair will always receive a copy of the application from our administrative staff. And so sometimes your CPO chair may request folks to give comments as to what they think about a project to that chair, and that chair in turn will provide those comments to staff. So we have a aggregate, if you will, of comments from the community. In addition to folks who have received the notice and are aware of the project, sending us their comments as well. So there's various ways for staff to receive comment, and we want to involve the community because it's very important. For sure, obviously, where we all live, we want to know what's going on in our backyard. And I think one of the things, oh, I'm sorry. One of the things,
okay. I was just gonna say, Mary has her hand up. Mary
okay. One thing, because I will forget, trust me, it'll go out of my head. I just want people to be aware that we all assume when we see a lot of open space next to us or where we live or trees, that's going to be there forever. And sadly, private property is owned, unless we know for sure it belongs to the Parks Department, development occurs. And I'm a tree hugger by nature. I can't stand to see development. So I guess maybe I'm in the wrong business, but at the same token, maybe I'm in the right business because I can try to shepherd it through and make sure that it's done properly and according to all the codes that we have to look at and review.
Melissa.
Okay, I'm ready for Mary's question.
So actually, one of the clarifications I'd like to make is that notice goes out to people living within 500 feet of an proposed development. And
within
it's
the
really
urban area, yeah.
In the urban area.
Right.
Which,
it's 1,000
our
feet
CPO is
rural. Yeah.
Our CPO is mainly urban,
Right.
but it's really important for people to reach out to their neighbors when you get those notices, because your neighbor may not get one.
That's right.
And one of the things I think I heard you say was that you have to be within 500 feet to comment on a project or to file an appeal. And that's not true.
That's not correct. I stand corrected.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
okay.
sorry about that. And thanks for pointing that out.
Go ahead, Mary, as long, if I can just jump in here, I'm going to share my screen again, just to show, because what we do hear a lot of from people is concern over that 500-foot situation that you're referencing. Am I sharing the right screen?
Yeah, I think you are. I think you are.
Because there's ORS requirements, and then there's what the county does as a courtesy, and other jurisdictions. Sometimes they go further out in a radius.
Right, and I have a chart that shows what we do versus, okay, I'm gonna try this again.
Yeah, it was 500 feet as opposed to 100 feet for state law. Yeah, that shows.
Yeah, Multnomah County does that, right?
Yeah, so no, I mean, if you get, I'm hoping I'm sharing the right screen. It doesn't look like it on my computer.
You are.
Okay, good. So if you'll see, we do 500 feet. And compared to the other jurisdictions, Beaverton does the same, but we do far more than all the rest. And honestly, we could not go larger at this point without potentially running into some serious legal challenges. Oregon law, we're required to do 100 and we're doing 500. So really to get that increased, we would have to do, you'd have to have it increased almost at the state level first before we could do much more. And the same is true like in the rural area, which doesn't apply to your CPO. But even so, the state is 250, we're 1,000.
And where are we in terms of signage? Are all sites required to be posted?
Yeah, the applicant is required to post the site.
And that's for neighborhood meetings, but if there isn't a neighborhood meeting, they're still required to post the site. I think.
That's right.
So actually, my question is, when applications are deemed complete, the county has 120 days to process that application. But what happens if you get into the application and you realize that there isn't adequate information within the application to approve the application? And additional information is required? Does that reset the 120-day clock?
That's complicated. Normally we hopefully try to catch those shortnesses, isn't a word. Those
Deficiencies.
Thank you. Yeah. We hope to catch those deficiencies while we're reviewing the application within those 30 days that it's submitted. There are times if we're missing certain information, we'll deem it incomplete and the applicant has time to gather that information because there is no clock started yet. There are times, however, that we'll deem an application complete, start getting into the review and realize, oh gosh, I need more information on this, this, and that. And at that point, we're kind of at the mercy of the applicant. We'll send emails saying, oh, can you send us this? Can you send us that? Or can you provide us a waiver to the 120-day time frame so that we have more time to get this information together?
But can't you at that point say, well, the application isn't deemed complete. We don't have the information to actually approve the application the way it is. And so we can either deny it or you can extend the 120-day clock.
Right. Once we deem it complete, the clock.
No, I understand that. Right. I understand that. So, but if it's been deemed complete and then you realize there is inadequate information to approve the application, then
we try to work with the applicant, get them to submit a waiver and say, well, we have to deny it based on this unless you can provide more information. But at that point, we've gone down pretty far down the road to have missed something that big to deem it to recommend a denial.
Well, a fatal flaw.
Yeah, so there are times if we do end up recommending a denial, let's say the applicant has the right to appeal that decision. And so that's when it goes to the next level. And let's say the next level is the hearings officer, public hearing. The applicant has an opportunity to provide additional information. Oftentimes the hearings officer will leave the record open for a certain number of days to allow staff to review that information and provide additional response to that. And then the record's open some more to allow the applicant to provide a rebuttal. And so it can kind of drag on a bit. So like I said, it has to be quite deficient to recommend a denial on something. And hopefully we would get a waiver ahead of time to try to work through that.
I guess what I've always experienced with the hearings officer is always very clear that he's requesting an extension of the clock. And, it's definitely back and forth.
It is.
At some point, the applicant could actually say, no, I want the decision today. And no, I'm not going to extend
They could, and sometimes they'll risk a denial if they do that. And in my experience, if it's denied, and there's some funny legal jargon, what I've heard before is if it's denied without prejudice, they can come back in less than a year with the same project, maybe, I don't want to say the word tweaked, but it's a little bit different. Otherwise, they have to wait a year to resubmit for a project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, and it depends on the jurisdiction. I've seen it both ways, where it's denied and that's that, you have to wait a year, or denied without prejudice, and they can come back in less than a year.
So Washington County has a requirement that it can't be resubmitted within a year?
I'm not certain, because I haven't worked at the county that long. Other jurisdictions have this denial without prejudice, and some land use attorneys don't like that term, or legal counsel, because it has different implications. So I will have to get back to you on that answer and further research that, because I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head yet. I have to look for it.
Thanks.
Yeah. But Melissa will hold me to it. I'll get you an answer on that.
And if I forget, Mary will remind me.
That's fine. And you can give Mary my email as well. So, what else? We have, or Melissa has, how much time do we have? A location on that webpage under public hearings and agendas. We have a new link about frequently, how's it entitled? Frequent.
I'll share my screen. I have it right up.
It's not hot topics, but it is basically on some projects. On some projects that are kind of getting the attention of folks. And
yes, that's a good way of describing it.
Those application materials uploaded. The county isn't in the habit of uploading all application materials for all projects. We don't have the bandwidth to do that right now, unless
it's not even a question of bandwidth. It's that some of these applications are so large that we can't get them on our website, literally.
Right.
So there's that.
But again, everybody has an opportunity to come to our front counter and review an application. That's no problem. That's a request for information. And
Mary has a question.
Okay, I'm listening. Where's Mary? Oh, there's
her hands up.
It's actually one of the things I'd like to say is the CPO gets a copy of the application. In most cases, we have been taking that to the Bethany Library. So that is probably way more convenient than going to the county. Not all applications go there because we have one single copy. And if it is a hot issue, we may have sent that copy to the attorney. But I guess the question I do have is, are land use applications submitted electronically at this point?
No.
So they're not?
No, and it's driving me crazy because we're in 2022, but I'm new to the county, so I don't know the history as to the why behind it, but I can only surmise that it takes a lot of resources to go electronic, and a lot of jurisdictions are trying to do it, but it really takes a huge, huge effort to change up a system and get everybody trained up. So we do try to get the applicant to email us a link, a Dropbox link, let's say, to the materials. And so if we can get that, we will post it on our website.
Washington County is not allowed to use Dropbox, first of all.
Oh, okay.
So they'd have to come up with it. It's not a secure system, and it doesn't meet our security requirements.
Exactly.
So it would have to be something else that they would use. I just felt the need to say that before, because you never know if IT is listening right now, and if we said that, then we would.
I mean, when I worked at another jurisdiction, if they brought a thumb drive in, we'd have to run it up to IT, and they would run it to make sure it was safe.
As do we.
Yeah, and no viruses on it. So sometimes we can do it that way as well.
So I guess I have a question. Is there any value in the CPO sending a letter to our elected representatives saying it's 2022? We really would like to see LUT brought into the current century.
We have, as I understand it, the Acela system may have the capability to do that. However, we have not been able to implement that module. And in terms of actually, is there value in doing that? There's always value in contacting your commissioners if that's what you choose to do. However, if you were watching the budget hearings right now, you would know that there is a significant shortfall in the general fund. And I do not see us being able to expand on that, even though for the most part, LUT is not funded by the general fund, but I would say it is unlikely.
Yeah, Mary, I can answer from experience. I've been involved with several jurisdictions switching to electronic document review and Excella. And I can tell you it takes several $1 million to get to an electronic permitting system and activate Excella to also.
We do have it.
Right.
We do have it activated. We just, we are not
software.
able to accept building permits electronically, but we can do inspections electronically.
Right.
And we do not accept development applications.
Because there's also another software systems that work with Excella to allow us to do that, but it's a lot of resources to even get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Sadly.
Very sadly.
Thank you.
Great question, though.
Yeah.
So if you get to this page that Melissa has recently created with IT, if we have a hot topic type project or frequently discussed project, we're uploading the application materials to this page, and you can click on the case file number and see the application and where we're at with it, if there's a staff report generated, if it's going to public hearing, when that's going to be, which is also on our public hearings and agendas page.
Which I can also take you to in a minute.
Yeah, and that also has minutes to past cases so people can read about them.
So
That
can
is
I
located
say
here.
something about the In-N-Out Burger? Just
Sure.
so people don't get confused. Yes, there is an In-N-Out Burger going in Tanasbourne, but that is in the city of Hillsborough.
Right.
Correct.
So the
correct.
application that is there is for the one that's going in on Beaverton Hillsdale Highway in
Right here.
what we would think would be Beaverton, but it's actually an urban unincorporated
They
Washington
have to
County.
annex to the city of Beaverton later
Eventually.
on because
Yeah.
of sewer services in Beaverton's jurisdiction. And this is a proposed project. It's not approved yet. And I'm in the process of reviewing it and writing the staff report. So there's a very, very large coordinated effort taking place with ODOT right now.
Well, and it's really important that people understand that it's not the one at Tanasbourne.
No,
Yeah.
it's not in Tanasbourne. Hillsborough has their approval, but it hasn't been constructed or started yet as far as construction goes. So it's a different location.
It's right here. So here's Beaverton Hillsdale Highway.
Several, yeah.
Yep, and it's going right there.
Well, it's going on that in
Essentially.
two sites. We're both Azteca Restaurant and Hawaiian Barbecue. It's a 2.2 acre site. So it's all of that to your right as well.
Yep.
Both those buildings. So
And then Chick-fil-A is
right there, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
But more to come on that.
Yeah.
That is going to public hearing.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
Oh, we were going to talk about
public agenda, public hearings agenda page.
yes, I can get you there. So to get there, you click on public hearings and schedules. And one of my favorite features on this page is the calendar,
Mhm.
which you can also view as a list if you're more of a list person. Why
Oh,
isn't it
that's
showing
super
up?
helpful.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you can have the month, you can have the calendar style, or you can have the list.
Right.
Anyway,
And that's nice.
yeah,
I
I think
encourage people to look at the brochures of what the land development process summary is. It's a good guide to keep handy
yep.
because there's a lot of steps.
And then here are the public hearings and agendas. So as the agendas are, like, we've got the May 19th agenda, and then after the
Right.
when it's passed, then we have the agenda with the audio recording. So you can you click on that, the agendas with the recordings, and it'll take you right to the place within the recording where these case files were discussed.
And that's super helpful.
It is super helpful.
A lot of information on our website.
Yes. And
A
once
lot
the
of
website is redesigned, it will be easier to find.
Oh, great. So are there any other questions from anybody or anything else you think I should cover, Melissa, that I didn't touch on?
I think the one No, we talked about that. I think we're set. Mary, what else would you like to hear about? Mary was the one who was interested in this process, brought this forward.
So I think what's important is to let people know exactly when they have opportunities to have input. And so the first opportunity is going to be a neighborhood meeting. And there
the
you are
applicant,
able to talk
yes.
directly to the developer. The county is
Correct.
not involved in that process, but it's a really good way to get issues raised and questions answered. The next opportunity is going to be when there is the public notice that is issued for the application. And that
Yes,
has usually a 14-day window. Is that, and that's type 2.
type 2, and then type 3 will be a public notice for the public hearing. And that notice is typically mailed out 21 days before the hearing.
And at the public hearing, you are able to submit information in writing. You're able to submit
That's right.
information verbally.
Yep.
And those are really your 3 opportunities to be engaged as
They
a
really
member
are.
of the public.
They really are. And as an example for folks getting information, I have another CPO that has asked folks to provide comment by a such and such date. And I've gotten emails from folks that are a little bit confused, thinking that they missed the public notice, when in reality it was the CPO asking for comments from their community members to that CPO to then provide the information to us as the CPO comments overall. It was not negating the fact that people would still receive a public notice and still had an opportunity to provide public comment. And the public comment is typically a 14-day window that they can provide comment to staff. And it's really important for folks to remember that in order to have standing to file an appeal of a decision, you need to have provided comment during that public comment period about the project. So that's important to remember as well.
I guess the other important thing is once the application has been accepted by the county and deemed complete, as a member of the public, you really don't need to wait for that comment period. The county, once a case file number is established, the county should be able to track comments anytime.
Oh yeah, we
until
do.
the end of the public comment period for type 2, or when the record is closed by the hearings officer.
Yes.
So
And
there's
we
actually
do. We track them.
a lot of time where you can actually submit comments.
Absolutely.
This isn't directly related to public comment periods per se, but particularly we noticed this a lot with the proposed Chevron gas station on West Union and 185th. We had a lot of people who were emailing the Board of Commissioners asking them to deny the proposal. And the Board of Commissioners has no role in approving development applications. That is at the, staff approves it, but then
Well, we make a
if it goes,
recommendation.
right, excuse me, you're correct. We make a
Public hearing,
recommendation,
yeah.
but then it goes before the hearings officer, and that is where the decision is made. The board has no involvement in the process. And if nothing else, staff spent, and by staff I mean me, spent a great deal of time responding to emails saying, thank you for your email. However, the Board of Commissioners does not have a role. We have forwarded your email on as testimony on your behalf, but we did not legally. We don't have to do that, but of course, we would have no reason not to. So I mean, it was totally fine, but I think the process is faster and cleaner if people have a better understanding of the fact that it doesn't go before the board.
Maybe it's best to go to the public hearing.
Right.
Another clarification, type 2 decisions are made by staff.
They're made by the director. Staff
Well,
makes a recommendation to the director.
It's made by LUT staff.
Right, but we
Director is
make
LUT staff. But
Correct.
yes,
We
there is a
make it-
staff report, and the decision is made at the staff level.
right. The
type
recommendation is
3.
based off.
Well,
of
I'm going to clarify that, Mary, because what you're saying, there is a distinction between staff and director.
Correct.
Okay, now you can, you're making a face and you think that's a joke, but it's not
No,
at
no.
all. So staff makes a recommendation. The
Based off of the
director,
findings of fact in the
right,
code.
the director makes the decision.
And the director is not staff?
No, the director is a director. There's a big
Okay,
difference,
Okay, but he is a Washington County employee.
but that's different than staff.
Yeah, okay.
But I just want folks to understand, we
I think-
staff or director can't make a decision just because we want to. It has to be based on
Right.
finding the fact from the
Absolutely,
code. And-
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the distinction I was trying to make was type 2 does not have a hearings officer.
No,
No,
Only type 3 that has the hearings officer, unless a type 2 is elevated to a type.
right.
right, I was gonna say,
that.
wait, well, not always, the type two.
Yeah. There
Except
are
It's
for
not,
the-
not, it's not officially elevated to a type 3, it's elevated
Right.
to a hearing.
Right,
So,
it's
yeah.
so, and when the moon is full and the wind is from the east and all that, yes.
And I also ran across one today that's on the agenda for public hearing. It's a partition, and partitions are typically, less than 4 lots, and those are typically type 2 applications. But because there's a planned development
Yes,
attached to it in the R5 district, which is specifically called out in the code, that does go to public hearing, and it is automatically elevated to a type 3, even though a partition is typically a type 2. So there are instances such as that will take something to a public hearing and the hearings officer for review and decision. That's a lot.
it is a lot. I mean, none of this is simple. So,
And it's getting
No.
more complex with infill development because, as we all know, land is scarce and the UBG is only expanded every so often, and that's dictated by metros. So the needs have to be there. And it's always nice for the public to know that staff is not the proponent of a job or not, of a project, excuse me. We're just there processing an application so that they can get permission if they meet all the requirements of codes to even get a project off the ground.
yes.
Um,
So I've put all the links in the chat for
Thanks so much.
comment opportunities, if anybody wants to go ahead and copy those. And I think,
Mm.
does the recording get posted on the website, or how does the CPO website, how does that work?
Yeah, we typically, we're not able to post the video quite yet, but we're able to post it to YouTube and then we link it from Facebook. So
Okay, so
this will be
there's
available to all. So that's
okay, and so
fantastic. Thank you.
there's access to the chat then?
Yes, and there'll also be the transcriptions also going. So there we go.
Perfect. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions? We have 6 minutes.
Wow, we're doing pretty well.
I know. Look at us go, Sandy. Woo-hoo.
I'm
There
telling
you
you.
go. Nice job.
There's, well, I was going to think of some good books that are about Oregon land use planning, but I can't remember the titles. It's very complex. But those are great links, and all of us are available. We need to be available if the public has questions. Our emails are full, but we do the best we can to return emails and phone calls as soon as we can. So,
Nice.
based on the new budget, it looks like they're proposing a hiring freeze. So we'll do the best we can.
Well, having this information, I think, is fantastic. Thank you for doing a special topic on this.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and these links are fantastic starting points for everyone here. So,
And I'll get back to Mary on the question, which I'm trying to remember already. Oh my gosh, what was it?
Mary, what was your question?
Mary, what was that question? I have to get back to you on. I need to write it down.
I can't remember what it was either, but I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank
When
you.
you think of it. Yeah, I
I'll
can't
stay.
remember. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
It has indeed.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's been a long week, but then I remembered it was Monday.
It's Monday, right?
Thank you. It's all good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
all
guys.
right, thank
you
you.
both.
Have a good
Thanks.
evening.
Okay, you too.
And that wraps up our main presentation for today. So I think any other questions or announcements while we have a couple minutes? Raise your hand if you do. Otherwise, I will motion to adjourn. Can I get a second? Anyone? Second.
I'll second that, but
Okay.
anybody's welcome to stay. We have a quick steering committee meeting where we're going to decide what the agenda is for our meeting next month. So everybody's welcome to stay on.
There we go. Thank you. With that, we'll roll into steering committee. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. There we go. Where's the recording?